Hey everybody, my name's Grant Key. I'm the lead protocol engineer for Telcoin Network. I'll show you our digital cash demo. We've deployed several digital cash options on testnet. This is a Diri testnet. We have selected our e-Mexican peso, and you can see from a list of options, we've got a wallet with several balances, but today we're going to swap for Canadian dollars. Set an amount, we'll do 2,000, and we can see the price impact. The minimum amount received. We set our parameters for the swap, and now we're ready to sign. For the demo on desktop, we're using MetaMask. It's an open source EVM wallet. Telcoin Network is fully compatible with all the EVM products on the market. And once we've signed our transaction, it's now with the network. The nodes are reaching consensus, they're validating it, they're exchanging that information to make sure it's a legitimate transaction. And once that's reached on testnet, about 5 seconds, we should be able to see the information in the block explorer. So here we can see our status was successful. The block that the transaction was included in, 100,593. And we signed our transaction just 22 seconds ago. The power of Telcoin Network with the instant finality, every time a block is produced, the settlement is cleared, that transaction is permanent. And for very low transaction fees and very fast block times. Here you can have a look at our block explorer where we see blocks being produced in real time. This has a lot of information for us, including the token price, the latest block number, and the most recent transactions on the network. And there you have it. It's as easy as that. Users can swap stable tokens now on our Telcoin wallet found on iOS and Android.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Telcoin app Stake and Refer video tutorial. Today, we're going to walk through how you can participate as a Tel staker and how you can earn referral fees for driving adoption to Telcoin DeFi products. To do this, you'll need some Tel in your Telcoin wallet.
Hey everyone,
Hey guys.
what's going on?
Yeah, not much, man. How are you?
Great. I am great. Looking forward to the meeting. Did a little write up today on this. Hopefully did a good job. It looks like Coops will be our leader today.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, all good, bud. How are you?
Good, very good, very good. Awesome. Cool, Derek, everything all good to get going?
He says all set, so we're good.
Super. Cool, we'll get going. Cool. So, hello everybody, and welcome to our 19th recurring Platform and Treasury Council meeting, where we continue our journey of transparent governance and community engagement for the Telcoin ecosystem. Today's agenda encompasses several vital updates on Telcoin governance initiatives, recent platform developments, and a preview of upcoming and in-progress TIP and TEL-IP proposals that will shape our future. These regular meetings serve as the heartbeat of our governance system, fulfilling multiple essential functions, including creating a transparent window into council operations for our community, providing structured forums for discussing and refining proposals, offering proposals a platform to present their ideas directly to council members, enabling community members to witness, discuss, and help shape these proposals, delivering consistent platform updates to everybody informed, maintaining open lines of communication between council members, and facilitating direct community engagement through our interactive Q&A sessions. I'd like to take a moment to reaffirm that the platform and Treasury councils represent the global governance layer for both the Telcoin platform and the association. Working in concert, these councils oversee platform-wide systems, shape association social policies, and steward the Tel Treasury with care and foresight. The Telcoin platform government system, self-organized and determined by the four minor groups and their elected councils within the association, focuses on two primary duties. Those are provisioning, which is planning and financing platform infrastructure construction and maintenance, providing information, and delivering other collective goods essential to our ecosystem's health. And TEL allocation, which is regulating TEL sustainably within the platform for the four minor groups to harvest based on their production according to the rules established by their respective councils. As councillors, we embrace several key responsibilities, and that is thoughtfully reviewing and voting on snapshot proposals, maintaining consistent attendance at council meetings, providing transparent regular updates to the community, and vigilantly monitoring platform systems and upholding and enforcing our operational framework. So to quickly go over our agenda for today, we're going to start with a Telcoin network update from Grant, and then we're going to move on for a bit of info about our media and marketing campaign from Storm. There's a bit of information around liquid delegation and an upcoming liquid delegation ceremony. And then we're going to go over a couple of TEL IPs, including funding and provisioning, and then a quick info on exchanges from Adam, and then BZ is going to finish with some broadcasting details. Just to recap what we went over in the last meeting, we talked about the liquid delegation ceremony to replace Will's developer seat. There was a Telcoin network development update, a Storm Partners media and marketing partnership sort of commencement info. And then we went over some TEL IP for financing and incentives and exchange listings, and Dwight from Make It, who holds a seat on the council, presented on TEL market making and market conditions and exchange listing strategies, stuff like that. Awesome. So we are going to begin proceedings with a Telcoin network update. If I can hand over to Grant.
Thanks, Simon. All right. So over the past few weeks, Telcoin Network's DevNet successfully processed transactions for our internal demos with fast finality, negligible gas fees, and improved the network's efficiency so far. It was very critical to supporting the security researchers during our competition, which was public, and helped them interact with an operational deployment of the protocol code in its current state. And that was part of the code freeze. So submissions for the security competition officially closed on July 17th. We ended with 1,313 findings. Now, judges are responsible for reviewing these submissions for their validity. And other security researchers are also incentivized to identify potentially invalid findings. This is part of the judging phase. It's also part of an escalation phase. This two-step process involves not only identifying valid findings, but also their severity from anywhere from informational, low, medium, up to critical. High and critical are the last two. Um, we did set aside a significant portion of our competition rewards for informational findings to really just help um, strengthen the protocol at this stage. So there is a lot of work for the judges to do still, but the protocol team has identified several valid findings so far, and we've begun implementing patches for those. Once the judges finalize the list of valid findings, they will begin reviewing our patches, and that process is expected to take at least 2 weeks. And um, during that time, yeah, we will continue to work with the judges to address all findings and all recommended patches. So, and that's really to ensure the safety and stability of the network. Um, so, based on that, the public testnet is going to launch a little bit later, but ultimately, it's going to help us launch a more secure and rock solid mainnet. So when that happens, we plan to invite the MNOs to join the testnet soon after that, but only once we're closer to final lock of the code, which really is designed to limit the long sync times for these MNOs to join and to prevent any sort of repeated restarts. So the biggest goal for us to launch testnet is to have a stable testnet that we think is ready for mainnet. The current deployment of DevNet is uh, undergoing maintenance. So we've identified a couple of major overhauls to really boost in the security from some of the valid findings that we have so far. But with that upcoming public testnet phase, community members, especially mobile network operators, will be able to set up nodes and stake tell and participate in consensus to earn the rewards. Users will be able to test cross-chain bridging via our Axelar third-party bridge. And yeah, the community's feedback and participation is going to be huge for us to shape the network and preparing for mainnet launch. Another update, we've identified some lead security researchers for follow-up audits once the competition is fully wrapped up. That includes the findings and our patches have been verified by the judges. Everything is good to go. The next step of our auditing process will be to find um, and fund private audits with experts in their field. These particular researchers are very specialized. And niche areas of the protocol, such as networking, our BLS 12381 cryptography, as well as the way that we're handling private keys and the way that we're executing transactions in the EVM. So, based on their availability, it looks like we'll be able to start that next wave of private audits in the middle of September. And really, the goal is to just find the right researcher for this. We have a really strong list of contenders, and we're just working to finalize and confirm their availability. So, want to thank Telfan for sticking with us. The trust means everything, and yeah, we're looking forward to just delivering a very very secure network here in coming months.
Amazing stuff, Grant. Thank you. As exciting as ever. I know everybody's so excited for Telcoin Network development updates. Every 2 weeks we get closer to that being rolled out. Super exciting. Hopefully Cantina can filter out some of those 1,300 chat GPT generated submissions, so you don't have to go through all those. But yeah, super stuff. Thank you. Cool. So next up on the agenda, we are going to move on to a media and marketing campaign update from Storm. I'm not sure if Storm are present in the meeting. I can't see them, but thankfully we do have Mr. Span here to give an update, I believe, on their behalf.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so Storm's been awesome, but I just want to start off with that. We created a small working group channel to get these really foundational questions for the Telcoin, history, background, association, distinguishing between these areas, um, our brand identity, why we exist. There's a really detailed document that they have that they're going to input into their machine. And so I've been working pretty hard on that. And and I'm excited about it. It's really clear that it needs to be very accurate, comprehensive, and just need to get them all the best info, and then from there they just can input it into their mastermind machine and overall strategy, and we can implement these things. Yeah, so everything's been great on that. It's just about in the final phases. It's a sort of difficult document in the sense that it's so critical to get it right. And so I am basically completing the doc. I already have my second draft of it, and still a bunch of things I need to input. But I'm doing a meeting with Hermias to basically go through each of the sections and really just hammer through all my thoughts, transcribe it, and have that fill in any excess gaps that could be lost within just having the text. If I could, I would fly to Switzerland tomorrow and just sit in a room with them for a few days and just um, have them download everything about Telcoin from my brain and the internet and our text together. But I think this working with them on a call and really going through everything and hammering it down is going to pay off in a huge way for the brand and overall marketing moving forward. So we plan to once that's complete. I mean, they've already been very actively working with BZ and Leo in our little initial group that we have um, to get tweets out and to refine the messaging there, and they're all over it. They're doing a great job. So yeah, basically early next week. Have the final meeting with them to go through the Q&A documents that they sent over, and then everything should be basically we should go into. I think we need to probably add at least one council member from each council to or at least the global councils and each of the local councils to the marketing channel. Actually, we probably need compliance too, just to make sure we're not, our language is right and everything. But um, yeah, then I want to basically get that channel going and have similar to the exchange initiative, have a focused set of people that are really driving it forward. And I don't, from a marketing perspective, there's a huge stakeholder list that we're going after across this three-layer platform and multi-stakeholder ecosystem. And so, certainly going to tie in. I was talking to Telex Council yesterday, just kind of filling them in and providing a little bit of my thoughts about the direction and everything. And one of the key areas is like with Telex is having marketing and really targeting DeFi protocols and exchange layer twos, as part of that area of the platform. And so, it's a sort of, looking at it from the global perspective, the full platform and all of its stakeholders, but then zooming in with them and really getting this thing ironed out. And so I think that doing this right from the outset is so crucial. Would hate to have our entire marketing system based on inaccuracies or not enough info. And I think that it's going to be huge for the long run and really rolling this out. And so before we input the questionnaire into their machine, I'll share it with all the council members for them to review and provide any input, adjustments as they see fit. And then we'll really be off to the races. But we've certainly commenced operations, and everything's good.
Awesome. Sounds like a lot of cool things happening behind the scenes, a lot of things in the pipeline. So that's super interesting. Out of interest, Parker, did we, I can't remember, did we agree on how often Storm would be presenting at these meetings? Was it monthly that we agreed?
So my understanding from the last meeting was monthly, and I think that makes a lot of sense. There's also the sort of like I'll do consistent updates here as well for the meetings that they're not attending on traction, and ideally, with having council members represented from each of the councils, they'll be able to also do the same thing on their council meets. And yeah, we certainly want to get them into as many of these meetings as we can to work with them, get the community to ask questions, which are oftentimes really, really good questions and ideas that we haven't thought of. And so, yeah, I mean, for me, it's the more the better, but I think probably once a month is reasonable, unless you guys think they should come to all the meetings. I don't care. Either one works for me.
No, I think monthly sounds good, and they can deliver a big bumper action-packed update every month. So that, yeah, no, monthly sounds good to me. Cool. Okay, so next up on the agenda is liquid delegation. So many people listening will be already familiar with the process of liquid delegation, but just gives a bit of a background to any new listeners of how that works. So, as an introduction, liquid delegation ceremonies are used within Telcoin Association governance to enable special elections outside of the annual election window. Liquid delegations can be used both as an accountability mechanism, in essence, for minor groups to replace a council member they don't believe is representing the interests, or to fill a vacancy following a resignation by an existing council member. So the latter was one that, in this instance, as Will decided he needed to step down, which is fine. So um, at the last council meeting, we set the date as tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central for the next liquid delegation ceremony, and provided the last 2 weeks for candidates to nominate themselves for the application developer vacancy on the platform council. So the nomination window has now officially closed, and the election will commence tomorrow and will last 7 days. At that point, the candidate with the most votes will be elected, undertake the KYM process with compliance, and then the Platform Council NFT will be distributed to their address to empower them with voting rights and a stream of TEL issuance. So there was only one nomination that was received for this, which was from Nick P, also known as Blue Lights or Nicky P 103 on X. I believe that Nick is in the call. Yes, he is. So Nick, feel free to come up to the podium and to present your case why developers should elect you to the Platform Council. Any information you want to give about yourself and why you think you're going to be the best candidate.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
All good.
Yeah, thanks so much. Nice to be up here. It's a shame I'm the only one that filled out the application. That would have been good to have a couple of people to have a chat about. But anyway, I'm Nick, also known as Blue Lights. I've been following Telcoin since inception. Missed out on the ICO by like 3 days and kicked myself. But since then, Telcoin has slowly, over the years, turned into my favorite project, which has gained most of my attention. Um, I come from a tech background, so I've always been involved in, ironically, mobile phones and IT. I built my early days. I worked heavily in mobile phones, and I worked with developers in Bulgaria. We between us all, we reversed engineered Nokia's technology, their hardware chips, and we built our own service center software. Which was primarily because the original Nokia Service Center software was really slow, and a lot of the companies reached out to us because they were complaining that the software was super slow and they can't cater for as many phones as they had coming through the doors to service. So I spent a lot of time in Hong Kong and China factories. Working with developers. I wasn't a direct developer, but I was working with two other people who were very, very, very high level in, well, they obviously high level because they reverse engineered the whole of the Nokia's security. But we ended up building our own version of service software, which would allow service centers to plug in phones and then be able to upload firmware versions or change languages on it. And we increased the speed of the actual upload of the data by can't remember what it was, but it was way faster. And you could plug in, 60 phones at a time and upload them all. So we spent a lot of time building that kind of software out. And it was used in service centers all around the world. Carphone Warehouse used it. Loads of people used it. But anyway, that was my kind of original foray into the mobile industry. Spent a lot of years in that. Hence why Telcoin became so passionate for me, because I understood the newer generation of the blockchain, and how I could clearly see how the blockchain could disrupt the industry. And Telcoin's mission with the Telcoin network, especially, um, gaining global compatibility with all the mobile networks around the world, and having a unified system to for mobile money, was just it resonated strongly with me. So that was my kind of like early days, and the reason why Telcoin resonates with me. But then I also built a traditional IT company from the ground up, supporting B2B companies, managing their help desks, implementing all their services they wanted, email migrations, you name it. From whatever they needed, we planned, built, and deployed all the systems. And I had loads of people working for me, and I was very, very conscious of rolling out plans on dedicated times, and hustling and bustling to get things done and making sure everyone was happy. So but I come from a very good space in dealing with developers, and dealing with engineers, and making sure project managing stuff, and making sure it gets done. And if we have to work through the night, it's done. Like, I've never missed a deadline ever, no matter what happens. So my kind of mentality is just get it done. Like, cut the red tape. Let's sort this out. Let's understand what we need to do, and let's get this done. So, from a Telcoin perspective, it's actually quite exciting. I've held off from applying for a council role, because I wanted to sit back and see how everything played out. But I think the time's right. I'm long-time supporter of Telcoin. I've been working in the community loads. We've got our Tel community Telegram chat with 140 members. It's all good debates, good conversation. I've helped a lot with. I've been in pretty much all the meetings, sat in the background just listening. All you guys are amazing, and I fully enjoy every single meeting that I come into. And I've been helping with the proposals, coming up with ideas for the town council, to implement some fun ideas for missions and things like that, which we're working on. So, bouncing around all over the place. So yeah, I mean, I just think that I have a solid understanding of Telcoin. I know the ins and outs of it. Understand the council. I understand Telcoin holding side with the bank. I understand the Telcoin network side, the TAO, all of it. So for me, it's kind of a natural time for me to stand up and say, I want to make it official. I'd like to help in an official capacity with the TAO, in any way I can. And that goes, I've constantly been educating people. And, when you get people that don't understand it, I've taken my time to sort of explain different parts of, this is Telcoin Holdings, this is the council, this is the network. So I've always been very, I've always spent my time trying to help people, and that's kind of where we are. I could probably rant on for forever, but yeah, that's pretty much a summary of everything.
Amazing stuff, Nick. Thank you. Yeah, we really appreciate you. Really appreciate you coming up to talk. Your background sounds pretty high level and very technically extensive. So yeah, you definitely sound like you're the perfect position for the role. If I could vote in the developer seat, I would vote for you just because you're a Brit. So yeah, Brit
Yeah.
takeover.
Well, one thing I'll add is that where I specialize in really is kind of sitting in the middle of, like, say, a developer, because I'm not, a natural developer, of course, but I understand all the technology, so I understand what developers do, and I'm very good at kind of like being in the middle, to kind of hear from the developers. I can translate that very well into the other side, and yeah, just stuck in the middle there is a good place for me.
Great stuff. Thanks, Nick. Really appreciate it. And just to conclude this part, as I said, the voting will commence from tomorrow. And if you're unfamiliar with the current setup of our developers, the only current active developer is Telcoin Holdings. So from tomorrow, Telcoin Holdings will give a 7-day yay nay vote for if Blue Light should be elected. Awesome. So moving on to the next point on the agenda, which is the TEL-IP 3 implementation for the allocation and provisioning incentives. I believe that's going to be Squirtle, Adam, and/or Grant.
Okay. Oh, hello.
Yeah, you're all good, Adam.
All right, I'm good. Bear with me a second. So, essentially, what we're looking to do. So we've approved the allocation provisioning incentives. This was approved by the Platform Council last week, and it's received 4 of 4 votes from the Treasury Council. The proposal will be fully approved by tomorrow at 11 a.m. CDT. So given the fact that we need to essentially sell Telcoin to finance, or sell TEL token to finance a variety of these proposals, what I want to discuss is essentially how we should go about this, because we don't want to impact the market, and we want to ensure the whole point of this is growth of the token. So we're exploring a variety of different ways to sell TEL, whether that's through OTC large buyers there. So we've got Leo's existing bot that can sell over time, which then has no impact on the market. We've got our market maker Make It. So many of you have met Dwight. So naturally that has a slight fee to it, but they are the experts in that field of how to not cause any chaos. Essentially, we want to provide stability. So we're exploring how and what we can do to not impact the markets at all, because naturally it affects every single one of us, and none of us want that, to be honest. We want to see it flourish, we want to see it grow. So we're exploring a variety of ways that won't have any issues for the token holders, for the councils, and essentially ways for the large buyers to be able to purchase in a way or utilize the bots and the markets in certain ways that won't have any issues, essentially. So we are essentially working with, so we're all community members, and no one likes to see anything drop, really, in complete honesty, and that's exactly what we want to avoid. So the council are actually chatting and going through a variety of ways to ensure that we get the best bang for our buck and also ensure growth through the entire ecosystem and the TEL token, because in essence that's what the community want to see, that's what we want to see, because it directly adjusts to our budget as well. So the more the token's worth, the higher our value in the budgets, and the more we can utilize for both the community and the council and the whole platform and Telcoin direction as a whole. I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in on this as well, but there are essentially just a variety of ways. Grant has raised his hand. Go on, Grant.
Thanks, Adam. Yeah, kind of along that line, I know I did want to address that, there's, with the token price now being higher than it was in the current TEL IP, I've seen a few questions about that. So, ultimately the budget is denominated in TEL, and so this TEL IP, once it's approved, that would release that amount of TEL to for the budget. Now, that doesn't mean that we have to spend it all, especially with the favorable market price at the time of this meeting. So, I just want to address that first and foremost. But in terms of managing our budget, because TEL is volatile, and I think at the time of the proposal, it was just at the at a 003, maybe 35, and the budget was set at 003 to account for any sort of initial increase in downturn. Um, you know, knock on wood, but thankfully right now it's gone the other direction. So, something I would consider doing. I wanted to suggest was like I think it's paramount that we offload tell that we need for the budget in a responsible way that isn't going to tank the price or affect any sort of negative market affect the market negatively. But something else I think might be worth considering is um, exchanging enough tell into stable tokens so that we can meet our budgetary needs over time. Uh, but then s- stopping at that point once we have our budget kind of locked in these numbers, and that then leaving the leftover tell in place, whatever is left over, if the market price stays
Then
high. Um, that would let us have some leftover tell in the budget that would be great to roll over into next year. Um, but yeah, that was just a thought I wanted to share.
yeah, essentially it's just ways to explore not only how we can work together and ensure everything flourishes, but also uh, once the Telcoin Bank or anything like that comes available, we can explore financial services as well, because there are a variety of ways. But
Yeah, and I think like for instance, like the Tel IP one that came out earlier this year, we had a budget denominated at 0.0625 USD to Tel, and then at some point in February, the token price even exceeded that to a penny. I think when the market conditions are in that moment, I'm curious if the council has any opinion or like how to responsibly manage that, because if we had offset enough tell to cover our budget, our expected budget, then we would have had tell reserved from the initial allocation, as well as been able to meet all of our projected budgetary needs at the beginning of the year. So, and then so I guess what I'm curious is we seem to be in a similar situation where we've denominated the tell budget. We've denominated the budget in tell at a low price than it is currently, and so once those once that allocation is released from the Treasury, and it is funds, I think we have two options. Previously, we waited until we needed that money, and then we exchanged tell uh, for a stable asset to pay our vendors that we needed. But um, unless they took tell directly, but then in this case, yeah, I guess does the council have any sort of thoughts on being proactive with some of this budget? If the price does stay high, is there any opposition against kind of securing our budget that we anticipate versus offloading tell when we need it, because the security audits, for example, was a portion of this allocation, but we won't need those. We don't need all of the entire budget for security audits up front, right? So we can pay this over time, or we can, kind of lock it in so we know for sure we have this budget, and it would probably take less than the 200 million that was allocated.
Yeah, great input, Grant, and I have some thoughts. So I think for the Telcoin network audit and implementation, the expected cost there, we should probably um, that's there's these different buckets, right? Some of the buckets are tel denominated and therefore shouldn't have anything sold from them. But when it comes to the Telcoin network audit installation, I think we definitely want to get our USD um, to the point where we can cover those audits in a reasonable time. And I think maybe that includes using both OTC with large private buyers, some on-chain time weighted average price, not volume weighted average price, because if someone comes in and does a big market order or something, then you sell a bunch. time weighted average price makes a lot of sense for that, and just basically setting a date in the future for when we need those funds or want to project to have those funds sold by to cover it. I think is probably the move. And then also for exchange listings and related costs, we need to kind of figure out from Squirtel's perspective, how we want to do that. And then similar to um, the telco network audit and implementation, we have the marketing and awareness campaign, um, which which is much smaller than about a third of the audit costs. And I think so you roughly sell about half of it to get to the amount that we need, and probably do that as well over a time weighted average price, and using the various options available to us. But yeah, that's my input.
I think one thing to point out too is that building a cash position, from our perspective, it's really helpful to insulate ourselves against future costs in the case of downtrends, and timing the market is notoriously difficult or impossible, just because there are so many macro trends at play. But I think it also is worth thinking about the actual distribution of the equity. Part of what's really powerful about capital formation with cryptocurrencies is that you can align a large number of people's economic incentives simply by having them hold TEL, and so selling into strength responsibly so that you don't tamp down on any sort of bullish trends. But if you can sort of improve the distribution of the equity itself, in effect, you align more people economically with the success of Telcoin, and everything we're doing here. So, yeah, I think building a cash position responsibly, with careful thought to not just our own operations and insulating against downtrends, but also like uh, aligning more market participants and penetrating further into the crypto ecosystem.
So I think, if you don't mind me just hopping in as well, and Parker, please do jump in. With so naturally we're talking about this now. This is kind of the short terms of it. One option that we could be looking at is once naturally the financial services from the Telcoin side, from the bank, are operational, then there may be options for certain lending or other aspects within Telcoin from the different firms. So Telcoin Bank to Telcoin Association essentially be set up in a certain way. But there are a variety of ways that can be looked at that would kind of counter it, essentially the sell-offs there, that then would ensure that not only the platform, the ecosystem, the token, it gives everything enough time to fully grow as well, to reach a potential. Because naturally, no one wants to see a token being sold. Completely understand that. And from my perspective, I don't like it either. But it's, in some bits, it is naturally what has to be done. But then, if there is a way that we can work out, whether it's via lending services or some other aspects, to get that initial funding, to then, when there is a massive peak at whether it's bull runs or whatever, or slow sell-offs, then it means that we can not only pay back to the lender, whether that be Telcoin Bank or whatever that could be, but then it also means we have the budget to go, great, this token has increased and therefore increases the next year's as well. So it'd be like a win-win. So not only it would help the whole ecosystem flourish and the token, because that not only helps the marketing, the budgeting, our budgets directly, because it's based on token value. We would see everything grow. So say if something was worth, I don't know, say if we'll just say there's £100, and then we see that grow to 130. The difference between that is drastic on there. So that extra funding does go a long way for not only the council budget, but it's a set agreement to pay back a certain amount in a lending. So it would just go hand in hand. So there are a variety of ways and services we can look at this that wouldn't involve just direct selling or just a prolonged selling of it. But yeah, that's, I don't want it to come across as just doom and gloom or the whole everyone's selling on us, which communities do tend to jump on. It's not, that's not the fact at all. We are exploring every avenue to ensure that we are pushing this and ensuring there is growth, an ecosystem, and the token, because we all want this. It directly benefits every single one of the councils because it is based on the value of TEL. That is what the budget and allocations and proposals have been put through. So the higher the price and the better the rate of the token, the better it is for everyone. Yeah, that was my piece.
Blue
Awesome.
Light's had his hand up also.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanted to say something.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, Adam, I've seen you replied in the chat, but yeah, I have a really good connection for an FCA-approved company here in the UK, and they deal with TEL. They do a lot of OTC with TEL. Ironically, I had a good chat with them a couple of weeks ago. So I'll introduce you. They also have an exchange which it's kind of like a higher level one. You need to pass loads of stuff to be able to get it even approved to be on there. But I'll talk to you separately about that, and I'm happy to introduce you to them. They're really cool, and they could definitely help in with OTC sort of transfers, etc. But also the ongoing battle, which I've kind of like thought about since the year two allocations come out. We all understand the fluctuations in the market. So when you kind of produce an allocation or a budget based on a certain price, we all know that that's either going to go up or down. It's not going to stay the same. It's going to be either up or down, and it can cause a problem. And I know that the way the council's organised, you can't hold a stable coin, but it might be, and I'm just thinking outside the box here, but it might be a possibility in the future to somehow allow the Treasury to be able to hold a stable coin. It could even be EUSD from the Telcoin Bank, but it just means that when a budget is set, obviously it'd be great if the price goes up because the budget's bigger, but it's a problem if the price goes down. And really, when you're setting budgets for the year or for a certain kind of term, you want a stable, you're deciding at that moment what the budget is. So if there was some sort of possible way that a certain amount of TEL could be turned into an EUSD or a stable coin for the budget for the year or something like that, would be probably more efficient to cover the costs that are noted in budgets, without having to stress out too much if the price fluctuates or it goes down. So I'm just thinking more from a traditional business sense of when you do your annual budgets for your marketing, etc. You want to know what you're going to spend, and we have this strange battle in this Web3 industry where it's so volatile that we just really don't know what we're doing, when it comes to that. So I don't know, thinking outside the box, not sure if it's possible, but if there is a way that the council can hold a version of a stable coin just in their bucket to pay all the stuff that comes up for the year, might be an idea as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's the plan. Is kind of like how do we, uh, how in what way, do we sell how much TEL from each bucket, um, into stable coins to pay for future and current expenses, and the so that's one good point, for your information. And then the other one is the OTC desk that you were talking about. Let's definitely connect with them, for sure. That's awesome news. I wasn't aware of it. And the Tau is a UK entity, um, and so therefore can sign up with an account there. Maybe I don't know what their requirements are, but and yeah, that would be a big one, Blue Lights. If you could get that going, yeah, it'd be huge.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I can even do that tomorrow. It's no problem. I'll get it done quick.
Perfect. Yeah. So if you could email Parker at telco.in, the info and .org and the exchange or exchange at telcoin.org, and then CC my .in one, that would be really nice because yeah, for a variety of reasons, that's the type of institution that we would want to connect with
Yeah,
in the UK.
I'll CC them in. I'll send an email tomorrow, and I'll CC you in, introducing you, and then you guys can just, I'll jump out of it, and you guys can continue in the background.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, because it's interesting. The whole thing is, I think, across the board, that's a big opportunity. And how long have they been doing this? Out of curiosity, this large order size service
Well, I don't know, but I'll tell you the
for Tel.
quick funny story. Basically, one of my friends who's not into crypto at all, she told me like a couple of weeks ago that she was moving house and she was speaking to an estate agent, and she suddenly told me that she had 30 Bitcoin, and I was like, okay, right, okay, where did you get that from? She said, oh, I've had it since 2015. So I was like, all right, fine. And then the local estate agent that's dealing with the sale of a house put her in contact with this company. So she gave me all the details. And I spoke to them on the phone and everything. I checked them all out. FCA regulated, FCA approved, good company. And she sold all her Bitcoin through them and got the money the next day in the bank and was over the moon and bought herself a new house. So I've then since followed up and had long conversations with them. I've got myself an account approved with them, which took like 3 weeks. The amount of because it's FCA regulated, it's not like a Coinbase account or a crypto.com account. It's like they need to have everything. So it took me a really long time to get an account approved for myself, but that's because they're FCA regulated. There's so much to go through to do that. So they're really good, and yeah, I'm so happy to. I've got the guy. I speak to him all the time. One of the account managers. I've kind of like unofficially mentioned a few things about Telcoin, and ironically, he was very, yeah, we deal with Tel all the time. We do loads of OTC trades and things like that. So he was well aware of the token and the project, which surprised me because I just thought there would be more, traditional plain sailing on BTC and ETH and things like that. But yeah, they're fully aware of everything and they're on top of the game. So I think it could be a really good connection for you guys to have. And like I said, more than happy to put you into contact and you guys can do your own due diligence on them.
Thanks. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's do it. Looking forward to it.
Great stuff. Some great discussions there. Is there anybody else who want to bring anything up before we move to the next point? Nope. Awesome. Okie dokie. So the next point on the agenda is we're going to go back over to Adam again for the TEL IP that's around exchange listings.
Okay, so the council essentially have had conversations. We had a little internal vote of what we thought and where we're going. What I can say is we will be soon moving on to the next stages. Naturally, beyond what I can say. Outside that, we are chatting with additional exchanges and brokers. So I look forward to bringing you more information. It's one of those weird ones where it's in the middle where you can't say as much. Is there anything anyone wanted to add, or shall I keep it short and sweet, basically saying we have spoken about it and we'll soon be moving on to the next stages of everything?
Yeah, I think the Tel IP proposal is really close to being finalized, and that's going to unlock a lot of budget for this initiative. So looking forward to the next steps.
Yeah, I will keep that short and sweet.
Awesome. No, don't think there's too much else to add. So, all good. Okay. So next up on the agenda, we've got Derek, aka BZ, who's streamed with us today. He's been on a roll lately, and he should probably be nominated for Council Member of the Year based on all the successful initiatives that he's undertaken for the community. But he's going to give us some info around Tel IP, broadcasting results, and a few other updates for us. BZ, you've got the floor. Go ahead.
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Yep, you're all good.
Perfect. Okay. This might be a little blown out. I had to throw this together really quickly. So I just wanted to, I was asked to maybe share some things about the kind of the results we've seen from changing platforms and streaming. So I put together some statistics for us to look at together. I know this is probably a little blown out, but that's okay. So just to give a little overview, I went back and checked some of the statistics on. I started streaming on social media platforms, YouTube, my own personals on April 1st. That stream had about 86 people total watching that. Since then, we've had 46 total streams. About 42 total hours of content that we've shared with the community, over 150 people, individuals, separate chatting on these streams. I wanted to start there and just kind of show where we were. Before that, I've mentioned this before, but the Discord meetings that we held had probably around 10 to 20 people in them. So just to put things in perspective and kind of the framework there. This is the YouTube. I pulled this from our X account. So this is specifically from on June 26th we started and transitioned the stream over to the X account. So this is looking at that period specifically from engagements and impressions and the amount of exposure and what's comparing it on the same time period previously so about 2-3 weeks. We've seen some really great results. The biggest thing, 367% increase in media views. The impressions is also a really big one. So part of why I said I want people watching on the streams and not necessarily specifically in the chat or in the meeting is because the more impressions that you get, the more engagement that you get, the more profile views, all of that works with the algorithms on X and YouTube to push your account further and further to more and more people. That's kind of how that works. So the more engagement we can push onto those accounts, the more it will continue to pick up steam. But you can kind of see, obviously, the trend. This is a week by week trend of how things have really grown. And I think we've had some really great results here. So this is just X specifically. Profile visits are way up, about 200%, 349 replies, a lot of 500% in shares. So some really great stuff there to see. We've got on YouTube, this is some of the YouTube stuff. So this is the viewership increase, the number of hours watched increase, the number of subscribers increase. So 1,000% more subscribers than we've had in the last month. You can see the trend line down here. Yep. So that you can see the trend line down here. Obviously, this is specifically number of views that we've had on YouTube. So this is down when we weren't really doing any, and then it's grown over time. But I think the biggest thing is the number of subscribers because that's really important for viewership and growth. Our top performing stream was 2 weeks ago, and since then we've had 168,000 total impressions, 16,000 views, and it's been clipped and reshared 98 different times. So that's some really great performance from a single stream, and we're going to continue to see that grow over and over. So I think I just wanted to share some of this stuff because we only started this on June 26th. We're not even a full month into. This is actually a month this week that we started pushing the stream onto our official channels, and we've seen 200 to 500% growth, which is great. So just wanted to share that.
Great presentation, Derek. Thank you. Yeah, all I'm seeing is green number go up. So
yeah,
that's all that matters, isn't it? So yeah, you've done a great job with with all the stream work, and yeah, all the streams that you do on X look great visually, and yeah, you're just doing a great job. So thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you for everybody's feedback. But there's been questions about, well, why don't I send out the meeting invite to the whole community? Well, if you think about it logically, as this grows, we're having thousands of people tuning in now. I think we peaked at about 6 or 7,000 on one of the streams, concurrent viewers at the same time. We can't have all those people. Like, that's a lot of mics for me to mute, right? If I have to. So it makes the most sense for both the algorithms and getting us more viewership to have people watching on the platforms and not watching through the channels here. So really, really important that please like and share and engage with the streams. We're going to continue to work with Storm. They've been putting out some reminder email or some reminder tweets and things to remind people when we're doing them. It's the same time every week, so please continue to join in and contribute. It's very important. It's one of the big core values of the council and what in our charge to be good stewards of the community and listen to the community and get that feedback. And this is how we do that. So thank you.
Amazing stuff. So lastly on the agenda for us is an open Q&A. I think Derek, are you probably coming back up? I don't know if you've got any questions that are
Yeah,
coming from
sure.
your
Let
stream.
me pull up real quick
I know
here.
Grant and people have been busy answering questions in that
Yeah,
chat.
so one of the questions that was asked was just from somebody that's been following the project for a long time and asking how they can get involved or what can the community do to get involved. And I'll let one of you guys answer that. I know what kind of my thoughts are, but go ahead.
Yeah, a few different ways. On the miner side, you can participate as a staker for new users and earn rewards and vote for representatives. And as a liquidity miner, you can go and provide liquidity to Telex, earn rewards, and then vote for council members as well in governance. Everyone is always welcome, as long as their proposals are within the communication standards for kindness, being respectful, not calling out individuals. Can always submit proposals in any of the different proposal processes and types on the Telcoin forum. So that's telcoin.org, and go to the forum. And so yeah, and then if you're working for a company that integrates with validators and in a local market where you think you have the capabilities to run nodes, install them. We're looking for integrators, looking for developers, crucially, if you're GSMA member, to build on top of Telcoin network and participate within the Telcoin application network as one of the core applications, across any type of use case that ideally is useful to everyday consumers, or solve some need B2B, or generally leverages this technology. We want to bring all the builders that we can, and especially if you're in the GSMA already, that is really our target market. And then finally, if you're a mobile network operator, or you work at a company that is a GSMA mobile network operator running at MNO technology, then or GSM technology, then you can participate as a validator. And we want to talk to you because this is the type of network services provision that makes the most sense for telecoms, and that ultimately is the most scalable for users, and get in terms of regulated blockchain finance and getting that last mile payment connectivity everywhere in the world. We're the blockchain for that. And so come out and build.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. One of the other questions just came up, and I'm happy to answer this. They said they missed part of the agenda, but did we address narrowing down the exchanges? Yes, we can't, as Adam shared, we can't share a lot about that right now, just that it is moving on to the next step. So there'll be more to come of that, but the answer to that is yes. And there's a lot that goes along with that, a lot of things like the funding proposal that will be passed shortly, and other things there as well. So more to come there, but that's all we can really say at this time. And let's see. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, just to Parker's comment that we can hold stables for sure on the balance sheet. Just to clarify, is that on the council side or on the Telcoin holding side? And if so, how could that kind of benefit the council?
Oh, well, what I mean is it's legally permissible for the councils operating as the board of the association to um, sell its talent finance in the number of costs in the stable coins. And so we have certain laws that the platform council and the other councils use for these purposes, as well as the Tau. And so, yeah, each of those groups can use stable coins and sell Tau to pay expenses. We just, yeah, does that answer your question?
Answer your question, Nick.
Well, yeah, it was cutting out for me, but I don't know if it was cutting out for you guys.
Yeah, your mic's going a little bit robotic, Parker, at times.
Yeah, I just got these new AirPods.
Oh, they need to get straight back.
Yeah, I
Send them
think
straight
so.
back.
So, well, sorry. Basically, the association, each of the councils has different budgets they can sell into stable coins and store to pay future and current expenses. So it's not a problem at all. They can just use the safe walls that we already have built out for those purposes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Awesome. There are a few other questions about the bank and a few other things, and I just want to remind everyone watching the stream, this is with the Telcoin Association has no direct affiliate influence over the bank or anything else like that. Again, the association's purview, as we talked about in the beginning, is really the stewardship of the network. So those type of questions should be more geared towards Telcoin Holdings. Because we aren't at liberty to really answer any of those. So I just want to make sure that there's a lot of those in the chat. And I just want to make sure that we've made that pretty clear. And I don't know if Parker or anybody else wants to add any comments there, but I just want to make sure for some of you that are newer, that's very important.
Basically, there's Telcoin Holdings that develops application infrastructure and banking infrastructure on top of the Telcoin platform. It's just one of all of the other members across the Telcoin Association. And the Telcoin Association, the Telcoin Holdings has decentralized ownership over the platform network token to it's a part of that association. It's just one member. And so we don't have the business operations are out of scope for Telcoin Holdings in this discussion generally, and should be addressed to hello@telco.in or the Twitter or Discord.
Awesome. Thank you, Parker. And that is the last of the questions, unless I get any more that come through.
Go for
Adam. Yep, go for it.
Not so much a question there, but just so everyone is aware, we have had, so thanks to Andrew Pinch there, we've had someone contact us for the council to review as there are some services that we could be interested in. So after the call, if people are able to check our private Discord chat, just to run through that as well, it's much appreciated. He's just dropped a message saying that that has come through from this meeting.
Okay, will do. Any more questions or messages from your side, Derek, before we wrap up?
None in the chat.
Okie dokie. I think we'll wrap things up then. So thanks everybody for tuning in wherever you are. Really appreciate it. Just to confirm before we close off, our next upcoming meetings, which are August 7th, August 21st. Parker, there, I changed it, but it was originally said August 28th. I don't know if that was an error or is that because when
Yeah, that
its
was an
period
error.
ends. Okay, cool. I was just checking. And then it'll be September 4th, the next one after that. So yeah, calendar invites will be sent to the council members for all those. And just a reminder, these meetings are crucial for maintaining transparency and communication with our community. Thanks everybody for participating in the 19th recurring council meeting, and we'll see you on the 7th of August. Thanks all.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, everyone.